Hey everyone, it's me, Vega Rose, with the Why Aren't We Talking About This podcast, episode 3. And yeah, I'm still trying out new stuff and I'm still trying to see how I want to try to do my setup. That's why just want a little slightly different angle today and trying to, I don't know, just trying to experiment. We're just trying out some different stuff. And by we, I mean me, because this is a thing that I'm just doing out when I have time to myself, because I realize, I like to talk a lot. And sometimes I want to share my opinions on things that I see about, things that are going on in the world. I do want to branch out eventually, just real quick, y'all, before I get into the topic of what we're going to talk about today. I'm still working on trying to branch out to more people so that way I can have really deep, thoughtful discussions. God, I swear it's really hot in here, y'all. But I want to think about, discussion topics about, whatever comes to mind, like things going on in the world. It's like I don't want to just make it like this is just a trans show and all I talk about is trans topics, but it's just right now like I'm still working. I'm still, working a regular job. This is just something that I just do whenever I have time. So forgive me for my messiness and my untogetherness. I'm just me and I'm just doing what I'm trying to do. So with that being said, welcome to episode 3. And what I want to talk about today, I want to talk about this one. I don't want to I feel like if I say the name of who it is, it'll be very obvious. It's not so much that I want to think about this one specific person. There's a couple different things. Because I watch podcasts and shows about, okay, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead of myself, y'all. What I'm talking about today is attraction to trans people, but what I'm doing with this is just, the concept of it and how it relates to other people and how people kind of view that, I'm not the most together with my words all the time, but hey, this is a super unscripted, thought process. This is just me rambling about what I have on my mind right now. But the thing that I have going on that I have watched recently like a podcast, and there was a question that came up where it was like, basically it was a trans woman who was talking about, her dating experiences, and the host was kind of, I feel like as soon as I say that, I feel like for anybody who knows what I'm talking about would know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say any names, but I feel like, everybody knows what I'm talking about for real, because it's like, I don't know, but it's just like this little podcast I just watched, and I was like, that's interesting how, whenever a man likes me or also dates other women, I feel like a lot of times people don't understand that there really are just men out there who do sometimes, they like trans women and they like women, and then that's it. I mean, there's also some that like women, trans women, and feminine guys, or some, and not just men, there's some people who are just femme attracted, which is what I just usually say. I feel like a lot of people are really honestly femme attracted, or attracted just to feminine people. I think that's a thing too. But I do think that there's also a subset of people who like women and trans women. And I feel like that's something that doesn't really get talked about a lot. And I feel like a lot of people like to think that if a man is attracted to me, he's gay, which is whatever, because that's people's viewpoints, because people have some type of bias or opinion of trans people, and I'm fully aware of what they think of us. It's which is crazy to me, because it's you see what the fuck I look like, and then I walk out here every day as myself, and it's that I get I'm not trying to be funny, but I feel like personally I'm a really passing trans woman, and people can disagree with that and come to their own conclusion. But from my personal experiences, I would say honestly the large majority of the time I usually just kind of enter the world as a woman, and that's just how people see me. So it's not very often that people usually clock me, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I just go around and it's just like, ma'am, it's like there's no question, there's no doubt about it. But it's wild to me that people can admit though, because I'll have people that I work with at times who might even be like, oh, like, you look really cute, Adrian, or oh wow, like, you look bomb as fuck, or girl, I see that ass that you got back there, like, you a little thick back there. Like, I get comments like that, but then in the same breath, I'll have women be like, but if a man dates you, I don't want to date him. And it's like, but he's looked like, when a man looks at me, he looks at me like how he does another woman. And it's like, it's something that I feel like, I can explain it a million times, but I feel like you have to kind of just be open to want to understand, which is sort of the purpose of this. I feel like if anyone's listening to what I have to say, then you had to have been interested at least in trying to understand a different perspective. So I appreciate you for that. So give yourself a round of applause for at least, being willing to like enter my conversation and listen to me ramble about things going on in my life and things that I'm thinking about. But yeah, so that's just one thing that I do find sometimes annoying, is when, I don't want to say that it's not that I really just find it annoying, it's just something I'm kind of tired of ultimately, which is the assertion that a man has to be gay who's attracted to me. And it's like, I understand I was born male and I am different. I am a trans woman. I never denied the fact that I was born male. I'm fully aware of my genetic reality. However, I also made changes to myself to help, me better assist myself in my life, which is why I feel like healthcare is so fucking important. It's like, honestly, I feel like people should absolutely have access to free healthcare, because healthcare is literally life-saving. Honestly, despite all circumstances, just quickly, everyone, if you allow me a few moments, I love my life. I really, really do right now. Things are not perfect, but I feel like I'm really just like, I feel like I'm floating sometimes, and I feel like, I just feel really amazing. I feel really good. It's gotten me want to be more creative and just want to do more positive things, like, and try to, be more adventurous even in my endeavors. That's even why I'm trying to do this, because I just feel like life has really been really good to me, despite some of the things that, I've been through. I feel like things are getting better though. So I appreciate that much. But yeah, I feel like a lot of times with women, I feel as if, a lot of times, like, I don't want to say that, and let me preface this, it's not all women. It's absolutely not all women. It's like, I have many women who, they call me sister. They see me as like another one of the girls. They're just like, just like a regular person with me. And like, I do get that. But like, I do feel like there are some, I'm not saying that it's a lot. I'm not saying it's most. I'm just saying there are some women out there who I do feel like, they feel some kind of way about a man who both likes me and them. They feel some kind of way because it's like, in their mind, they know they can't really control what somebody else is attracted to, and it's kind of like, all it's gonna do is like, I understand. You have the right to say, well, I want a man who's only heterosexual, who's not into whatever. It's like, that's fine. I'm not trying to take that away from you, sweetheart. But what I'm saying is, in doing that, you can kind of make a man feel like he can't come out or say that he likes more than just like cis females or natural biological females, because if he does, you'll shun him. you'll be like, well, I'm not interested in dating you. And I know I've talked to many women who have shared this opinion with me at times, and I've been like, wow, so like you really don't view me as a woman, is what that honestly tells me. Because I'm like, so if you're dating, and I'm not saying every woman has said this to me, but like I've had some where I've had conversation with some women in my lifetime where whenever it came to the topic of, you know, me dating someone, they're like, well, they would always preface it like this. They would be like, okay, well, Adrian, I could see a man finding you attractive because you look like a woman. You know, but like, okay, I could see that. But then they're like, but after he finds out, they feel like he has to be some kind of gay for him to want to continue with me. And I'm like, well, not necessarily. I'm not saying that he can't be bi, but I wouldn't say that him being attracted to me inherently makes him gay. Yes, I am originally born male, so I know I am, you know, a trans woman. I'm fully aware of that. However, it's like, you know, you do have to take into account secondary characteristics and the overall, I guess, aesthetic that I have going for myself. And I know that might sound some kind of way, but I do feel like, honestly, like, to me, because gender is a social construct, like, you're not biologically a woman or a man. It's like, you're biologically male or female, but like, when it comes to these gender roles, they're completely fabricated. They're all made up. It's made the fuck up. Like, it's honestly made the fuck up. It's made up. We made up gender. And I feel like more people should kind of be aware of that in of itself, where it's like, it's not this set in stone thing. Like, and when I say that to people, I feel like they don't really want to go beyond that point because it's too confusing, and or they're like, oh, well, no, I grew up in a time where things were just, it was just women. But I'm like, actually, honestly, like, when it comes to gender, it's it dates back fucking far. Like, there's literally like many communities from around the world who have for several like even like thousands of years ago who had like people of third sex or third gender origins or like beliefs. And it's like, there's more to gender than just man, woman. And I think that that is very true. And I feel like a man who's attracted to me, I feel like personally, he could be a couple of things. He could just be straight. He could be bi, you know, he could be pan. He might just be trans-amorous, which is like, you know, I don't really say that term quite often, but that's usually someone who's like really specifically into trans women. But I won't lie, I kind of start to feel like, I don't know. I don't want to say like that's like chaser-like, but because I'm like, it's okay to have like your one thing that you're into. That's fine. It's just, you know, it can have that notion at times with people. But yeah, it's like, it's really not like all that bad though. Like, I swear, I was just on a point and I just completely lost my train of thought, y'all. Oh, I'm a little hot today. But what I was saying was just that when it comes to like attraction to like a trans person, I feel like a lot of people don't want to like see me as who I am. I feel like they'll respect my pronouns for the most part because I'm passing, and they'll do surface level stuff. But it's like when it comes to like the like almost like the nitty gritty, like when it really comes down to it, it's like that's when people start to get a little funny, and it's just like, you know, like, it's just sometimes annoying I guess like the idea, I guess that is annoying to me sometimes, where it's like, if I'm just being honest, because it's like, you know, people have their views and of course they're gonna believe what they want to believe, but there's times where it's like, I feel like when I hear stuff like that being said, being like, oh, well, I don't want to date a man who dates someone like you, you know, hold on, let me put my phone on silent. It's being a little noisy today. Okay. Don't want my facade to fall. But yeah. Another thing about it too, I feel I feel like, you know, because there are multiple people who find different, you know, things in people attractive and whatnot, and it's like I feel like humans are so expansive and so diverse. It's like it's wild to me that people will believe like one notion, because I feel like a lot of times, a lot of spaces I enter, I feel like people are very much, usually I get a mostly good response from people, where usually people will either not know that I'm trans, or if they do know I'm trans, they usually are like, they're usually pretty like mellow for the most part. Like I might get microaggressions, but it's usually very minor because like I clearly, you know, look like what I identify as. So it's like makes it just make it a little bit easier to move in the world. And I'm not saying that you have to pass again to be valid. All I'm just saying is like for me, that was my goal. I'm not gonna lie, I'm being super transparent. I wanted to pass. I wanted to make sure that like, I was like, okay, let me just have no problems and just, you know, be whatever. And it's nice, honestly. And I really wish that I really feel like this would be a really great conversation to have with like someone who might not necessarily agree with me, but someone who I could talk to who would at least be respectful. Because like this is still a new thing that I'm doing. I know. Yeah. Anyway, I want to make sure like I make an attempt to reach out to more people, but I'm still very new to this, so I'm gonna be a little rough with my I guess my topic or discussion point. But I do feel like, you know, that's kind of mostly just my feelings on that. It goes further than that. I feel like a lot of times with some women, it's not all women, of course not, but like I just want to say like, but I'm not even just say women, I'm gonna say with some people, it's men and women, honestly. I think with some people in general, I think some people really do have a really negative viewpoint of trans people, especially because of like things that have been going on in the media. And, you know, I feel like it's kind of interesting just how like I feel like a lot of the things that I'm hearing that people are discussing is stuff that I've heard throughout my whole life. Because like I grew up in the Black community, and I always knew of like, I never knew of like trans people like directly, but like I was aware that there were people who were different. Like I was like, when I was a kid, I knew there was gay, there was straight, and then there were those who went a little bit further. And I was like, whatever that is, I'm that over there. And I could always tell, you know. But I'm not gonna talk about that today. That'll be for another time. But to make a long story short, like I remember there being, you know, talks about that where like we would watch stuff like Jerry Springer, and you would see like the trans woman, oh, tricked the man or whatever in on the show. And I'm not saying that none of them were not honest, because clearly, you know, that's the whole point of the trans woman going on the show and telling the world, and the person that she's talking to, usually a man, being like, hey, by the way, I'm trans. But usually, you know, they would have the girl say something like, oh, because she'll say something like, oh, well, I swear, it would only really be something when the girl was super pretty. Like, I'm not trying to be toxic, but when the girl ate down and she was pretty and she was passable, you'd have a girl just sitting like this. She'd be like, it's like, okay, well, baby, I have something to tell you. And he'd be like, all right, what up, sweetheart? And then she'll be like, I was born a man. You what? I was born a man, but I'm a woman though. huh? What? And like you would get that type of like reactions and like stuff like that, and then there's like some not nice stuff happening after that point. A lot of not nice things being said, and but that's what I grew up watching, and that's kind of like that was mostly most of what I had access to watching, and I was just like, damn, the world really hates these kinds of people for whatever reason, you know? And it was always weird to me, like how men would go like leaps and bounds and above to prove that they are not attracted to trans women because they're attracted to real women, as they would always say, because that's how they would say it, you know? And it's like, and I'm not saying that you can't have a genital preference. I'm not saying you can't have a preference. It's just that it's like, I feel like a lot of people are very dishonest. I feel like a lot of men are very dishonest with their attraction to trans women, because I'm like, it is a highly searched, porn category that a lot of people really do enjoy. It's usually like one of the most searched categories, like on, adult sites and whatnot. And it's like, it makes so much sense that there's so much like stipulations and so many people trying to make restrictions on being trans, is because I feel like the true tea of it all, I feel like, if I'm being totally honest, I think it brings a lot of insecurity and very insecure, weak-willed, weak-minded people who are bothered, because what it shows to them is that there are people who are just different than you, and they can live, they can be thriving, they can be beautiful, they can be amazing, and they can do that all independent of you. They don't really need you. And I think that bothers a lot of people for multiple reasons, because I honestly think that there's people who sometimes have like this view of like, of trans people as just like this monster, or just like this evil. And it's like, and then when if they ever meet a real trans person, they're usually like incredibly fucking wrong. And I'm not saying there aren't any trans people who aren't bad or who aren't like obnoxious or whatever, because like there's bad people in every group, There's bad faith actors in every group. Absolutely. But I feel like it's annoying to me when people want to be like, oh, well, this one trans over here did this. It's like, really? What do you want me to do about it? Like, what the fuck you want me to do about it? You want to be like, bad, don't do that. That's like, I'm one freaking person. I can only control me. I don't control what nobody else do up in this world. So that's just how I see that personally. But yeah, and it's like, I really feel like a lot of people get extremely insecure about, trans people for a multitude of reasons. I feel like a lot of the insecurity comes from, them believing certain fundamental truths about gender, and when they see it kind of disproven, it kind of shatters the worldview. And I think that's why trans people are like a scapegoat and being a target enemy right now, is because like, one, we actually do possess the ability to change and be who we want to be. You can be who the hell you want to be in this world. And I think that bothers very insecure people, because they're like, oh, well, I thought you had to be this to do that. And it's like, no, you don't. That shit is made up. Gender is made up, man. And it's like, I feel like a lot of times people, they don't like stuff like that, because it kind of, it threatens their position, because they feel like, well, if you are who you are, then that makes me less of me. And I think that there are some people who do feel some kind of way, the fact that there are people who do look upon, beautiful trans women the same way they look at beautiful cis or natural born female women. That some people look at us both as like, we're just beautiful women, And it's like, I feel like, that bothers a lot of people, because I feel like for the women it bothers, because I know it doesn't bother, like every woman. It's not, I'm not even saying it's most women, but I feel like the ones it does bother, I feel like it bothers them because it's like, I feel like there's some sense of like, I don't know if it's like a feeling of like I'm taking something from you, or like um I'm getting the easy run out because I skipped out on stuff like, cycles and whatnot. So therefore that makes me less valid, because basically the only way to be a woman is through lived trauma, and people not understanding that my life, I've gone through freaking trauma my entire life. Like, honestly, I've gone through so many different things in my life, which I'm not going to get into this episode today, but it's just kind of like, it's really unfair to me when I hear people try to tell me that I'm privileged. I receive some type of whatever extra privilege. I was like, I don't know these extra privileges, because like, I'm not saying that I can't recognize some privileges. Like, I do have some privileges. I definitely do. You know? I can definitely see that. But I also would say I experience certain things that I feel like most people and children shouldn't have to experience, if I'm being honest. Like, I've seen people be really, really mean and non-accepting towards people who are a little different. And that's kind of one of the reasons what made me want to like try to do this podcast, or try to talk more, even if I'm a little messy and like, undercooked or whatever, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm gonna like just try to like say what I have to say, because I have experienced a lot of hardships in my, when I was younger, and I still kind of do a little bit here and there. I'm not saying like my life is, woe is me, I have the hardest life ever. I'm not saying like that, but like I've gone through a lot of things where I'm like, I don't think people should have to go through that. I think transphobia is wrong. I think homophobia is wrong. I think sexism is wrong. I think any ism is wrong, But, people don't, it doesn't sound good when it comes from me, because when I say it, it's like, it's like whatever. But that's the purpose of this. It's like I'm trying to change that opinion. Or at least I'm trying to just share my little trans opinion on stuff that I have thoughts on. But, yeah, I feel like a lot of times when it comes to, I'm sorry, let me go back to what I was saying before. I feel like now when it comes to men, I feel like a lot of times, I feel like a lot of men might find themselves in someone like me. And what I mean when I say that is, it's possible that they might even be somewhere on the spectrum, the queer spectrum of some degree. They might just simply be interested in girls like me. They might like a little bit more than just girls like me, or they might, I don't know. I'm not saying it's like that with most guys, but like, I don't know. Like, I've seen it before, where some guys were really, really, into trans girls, and then like they were like, some of them would transition. So it's like, I was like, I don't know. That's why I feel like sometimes like trans people are almost like world shattering for some people, because I feel like a lot of times we do have that ability to fundamentally like change some people's understanding of the world. But that's why they're trying to fight so hard against us, because you're not supposed to be yourself and be happy. You're supposed to be miserable in this terrible system we got going on. But I refuse to do that. I'm gonna be me to the day I die. So that's how I feel. That's why, like, for me personally, I can say, from the top of my chest that I'm a trans woman, and I'm not finna hide from it. I'm not finna feel bad about it. I'm not finna, oh no, like, what if that person knows? And it's like, no. It's like, it's okay. I almost say just like this. Cause like, it don't matter, it's okay. But like, I definitely get people who try to like, who really are just intolerant of like the conversation and don't even want to talk about it. So to those people, it's like, well, there's nothing to talk about, because like you were never open anyway. So you'll continue to be a dumbass who just doesn't like to take insightful opinions. So you do that, But I like to talk to people who actually want to have real conversations. So hopefully in the future I'll be able to do that more. But yeah, I just feel like, I feel like a lot of men do fancy trans women because we are women. And I feel like it's something that, you know, bothers a lot of their masculine insecurity, their fragile masculinity. But sometimes I do have a sense where, like, it's not completely unwarranted. It's like, I can understand it, doesn't mean I reason with it. And, like, it's like, I can understand why sometimes some women might even feel some way. It doesn't make it okay. I don't think that it's okay for some men or women to be transphobic, but sometimes I can understand from the sense that it's like, I feel like you might have some very misguided, like, trauma where you're dumping your trauma on me, and which is why I feel like a lot of people like to dump their trauma on trans people and like to attack us, because we have been the agreeable target of vitriol. We are the target that it's okay to punch down on. And that's really, really messed up, that a lot of people feel that way about people like me. And, you know, and I know it's not everyone. It's absolutely not everyone. Like, most of the people in my life who are like my friends are women. Most of the people who have supported me throughout my journey have been women. So it's like, I know women are amazing. And it's like, obviously women are fucking amazing. But there's definitely some women where they feel some way about me, and I'm just kind of like, well, there ain't nothing I can do about it. After a while, it's like, there ain't nothing I can do about it. So like, I'm not gonna keep trying. Like, I'll put the attempt in the sense where it's like, if you want to have a conversation with me, we can talk. But like, you know what I mean? Like, after a while, it's like, if you just feel like no matter what I do, I'm always just gonna be a man to you, it's just like, well, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. I'm probably not gonna be your friend, but like, that's how you feel. That's how you feel. You know. But it's like, it's whatever. Like, I don't feel threatened by it, because I'm like, I know who I am. I don't need nobody to like validate me. I don't care if the world told me that I was something else. I'm still gonna wake up every day and be like, I'm a woman, and can't nobody take that away from me. And, you know, and I think the fact that I can say that and just be about it, I think that threatens a lot of insecure people who might, you know, want to say otherwise. Because it's like, I feel like with some people, I feel like they understand that there's a sliver of truth to that. Because it's like, but you know I can, though. Because even you admit that I look like a woman. So it's like, no, I can just live my life as I do. Like, I live my life as a regular, like, woman, honestly. Like, I date here and there. I get catcalled. I get, you know, talked to. You know, it's like, but, you know, it's like, whatever. People believe what they want. You know, I've had people target me before. I've been, you know, I've had some very interesting encounters with men. I'll say that much. I'll definitely had some very interesting encounters with men. And I'll just leave it like that. But, yeah. And I just really wish that people would give it more, like, at least a little bit more empathy, and trying to understand that people, like, a lot of people do have attraction towards whatever they're attracted to, you know? And it's like, I sometimes, like, I wish, like, I could have more solidarity with more women when it came to that. I feel like most of the women who are my friends, I feel like, are on the same page, but like, I feel like a lot of times, like, I feel like I don't even too much, like, I can talk about men with women, but I feel like a lot of times I can't say, like, basically the type of guys I get half the time, because I feel like they don't really believe me, or they feel some kind of way about those men who might talk to me otherwise. And I'd be low-key like, yeah, but a lot of the guys who talk to you also like to talk to me too, or they would, you know. It's just like, you know, it'd be what it be, though. I feel like a lot of times, like, a lot of men also will go out of the way to go leaps and bounds just to prove that they are not attracted to me. And at sometimes, because like I've even had times where like I don't know, I feel like I don't know if I said this before in this format or if I just said it amongst friends, but I know one thing that I was told once before, because one time I worked at a job and I was told that like this one guy thought I was really pretty, but like the way it was explained was he was like whoa, thank goodness you guys told me Vega was trans. I almost said she was pretty. And then I remember some of the other workers were like, oh, so you think that she's pretty? And then he was like, what? No, I would have said that if I didn't know Vega was trans. If Vega was just a female, I would have thought that she was pretty. And they're like, so you think that she's pretty? And then he kept trying to like reword it in a way that would make it to where he could escape the admission that I was attractive, which was so hilarious to me. I was like, wow, this is the type of shit that men do. I'm just like, this is a very real world scenario. And it's like, I could tell he felt stupid in that moment, even though I wasn't there for it. I could just only imagine. It's like, yeah, like, did you not hear how that sound off? It's like, and I feel like men would just go, like, if they ever compliment me, they feel some kind of way once, like, they either do find out that I'm trans or if I tell them that I'm trans. I've even had times where I once was, please don't judge me. I was at a BDSM event, and I was there, and there was this one guy, and he was filling up on me, and the funny thing is he was with his girlfriend, but I think they were like polyamorous because they were obviously both there together, and they were just there to just have a good time, and I was just like, whatever, And as this guy is trying to like fill up on me and trying to kiss me, I'm like telling them like, hey, like I'm a different kind of girl, by the way. I'm a trans woman. And he was like, oh, okay, wow. He's like, so what does that mean? I was like, well, that means I was born male, but I transitioned to female, so I'm a trans woman. And he was like, oh, okay. And literally kept making out with me. And, I don't want to go too much into details, but, eventually he gathered, oh, wait a minute. This girl is trans for real. And then he was like, what? Explain. And I remember he was not okay with it. He felt some kind of way. And it's just like, but dude, I literally am telling you to your face. That's another thing too. Sometimes these men don't be listening out here. Ladies, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes these men don't be listening because it's like, there have been times where it's like, I literally have been in a man's face and I've just been like, yes, I'm trans, by the way. I'll be like, I'm a different kind of girl. I'm a different kind of woman. And usually, I'm not gonna hold you because Vega be coming up like this. Usually, it go one of two ways. Most of the time, it's usually due to be like, shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's one way. Be like, shit, you bad enough anyway. It don't even matter. Like, and the alternative is, which is the not so fun one, usually due to be like, I've had guys be like respectful, where they'd be like, oh, well, I'm not personally into that, but you look very good, by the way, and keep it moving. That's actually happened, I think, like 2 times, which was appreciated. And that was several years ago. But I also had times where it's like, people were being really, really particularly weird about, the fact that I was trans and them finding out after them being attracted to me, which just makes it really, really, like, kind of like, I don't want to just say scary, but makes it kind of dangerous because it's like, I don't know how this guy is going to react because I've had a guy before literally like knock my fucking ass the fuck out. And this happened one time when I was actually in Job Corps. One time I was in Job Corps and this dude was like feeling some kind of way about the fact that like I was in the women's dorm and he just wanted to keep commenting, and me wanting to defend myself was like, you can't talk about me like that. Dude, knocked my ass the fuck out. I won't even lie, I was laid the fuck out. And, because like, I'll stand up for myself. I might not be a fighter, but like, you ain't gonna just talk shit about me and I'm just gonna let you just do it. Even if I gotta get my ass beat, I'm gonna be like, you just can't just talk about me. That's just how I am. My mama told me to stand up to bullies. I'm not gonna stand down to some asshole who's just like calling me names and saying stuff about me. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a damn. And that's just how it is for real. I don't care, man or woman. I don't care. I don't care if I win or lose. It's not about that. You're not just gonna like I'm not like this these days. That was back in my more ruffian days when I was a little bit more angry, but I kind of done chilled out where I'm like, I don't gotta like fight you for real. Like I'm not gonna fight you. I'm like, you know why I'm not gonna fight you? Because I'm a pretty lady and I don't have to fight you. but like I'm so for real. I'm just like, I'm not gonna fight you. No, it's good. I don't gotta fight you. But I actually have a few people who I can call upon if I need to. Not a whole lot, not a whole lot, but I got a few people, so it's all good. But yeah, and it's kind of like, I don't know, like crazy when I would experience stuff like that, because it's like it's like I know that men find me very attractive, because there have been times where it's like I've been with my friends and like I've had there have been times where like I was like the it girl of the group. I'm not gonna even hold you, like there was a time, this happened actually just about a year ago, where me and my friends, we were like going to like a tailgate, which I don't know how to really explain that, but I feel like most of the black folks, which probably is almost most of the people who are watching my videos anyway, I feel like y'all know what, like, I feel like y'all know what tailgate is, right? You know, it's like a party, kind of. It's not a party. It's like, it's just like it's kind of like an event thing that happens when there's usually like some type of like football game or something, and it's like a bunch of people just out, just kind of wild and just, you know, you're just kind of out just partying with folks and just drinking and getting high. Like that's the vibe, honestly. And I remember there was like a sea of people when I was out. And I remember almost every dude thought I was fucking fine as fuck. And I'm like, you know, your girl be out here showing out. I was wearing my little, cause like I forgot what the theme of it was, but like I think the idea was like it was meant to kind of give off like we were supposed to wear some type of cute outfit. I can't remember what the name of the look was, but the idea was like, you know, stiletto heels or boots with like cute skirt, denim top. It was something to that effect, and I showed the fuck out. I had my little crop top on, and, you know, showing off like my waist, and I had on my little heel boots and my little pleathery skirt. It was a cute vibe. It was a cute vibe. I really liked it. And I remember I had men hollering, and like what was even funny, because like we had heard loud shots, and we literally thought there was like gunshots that were happening. So like everybody's running, because like I see a bunch of black people running, and I said, no questions needed. You hear you hear loud bangs, and you hear people screaming, that means go away. That doesn't, so, I'm gonna investigate and slowly walk in. And, no, that means go away. That means run. I don't give a fuck if you got heels on or not. That means get the hell off and go. Get out of there. So I was like high-tailing. I was like, oh, it's time to run. I kind of stumbled a little bit because I didn't wear heels, but I got my ass back up real quick. I was like, I ain't finna die like that. I was like, I ain't gonna do that. And literally, like, they were like, no, y'all, like, I think it really was just fireworks, and it spooked us. But I was still, like, hesitant. But, like, you know, everything was still good, even though, like, I almost tripped. I know my friends were like, damn, like, girl, you okay? Like, you almost, like, broke your damn ankle, you know, just, like, trying to get away. I was like, shoot, I'm like, I'm good. But, like, damn, I did just trip, y'all. I was like, hey, I was just trying to get up out of there. And I remember, like, there was, like, a group of these guys who legit just came up, they're like, damn, shawty, like, I saw when you almost, like, broke your damn hip. They're like, and legit, they were, like, asking me, like, what, was I okay or whatever, just being like, oh, like, you good, girl, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, don't worry about little old me, but thank you, I'm good. And, yeah, that was just, like, a little thing that be going on. I feel like a lot of times, I feel like I low-key feel like in a lot of my friend groups I've been like, if not the prettiest one, I've been like the pretty girl of the group, which Hey, I ain't gonna complain. I didn't demand it, but if people just want to be nice to me and find me as such, then I'll take it. And I'm like, it's okay to be like, yeah, I'm pretty. But yeah. So there have even been times where like, my friend I remember one time she was like on the phone talking to like, some guys who were like in like jail or prison or whatever, because they be having phones in there too and everything. And I remember it was me and it was another girl who I hang out with who we used to work in an office together. And I remember literally when like because the dudes kind of wanted to say hi to us because they're like, oh, like show me your friends or whatever, blah blah blah. Literally, like even though two of us wear glasses, it was real funny when all of us said hi. The dudes were like, no, bring me back to their friend with the glasses. And it's like, I feel like we all instinctively knew who the fuck we were talking about because it's like, we know what the fuck you talking about. He's like, give me a girl with the glasses. And I think I had Bantu knots in at the time because like, because I do wear my real hair sometimes. I wear short sometimes or whatever, but I do whatever. And I was wearing like little Bantu knots and he was like, low-key trying to riz me. And I was just like, oh my goodness. I'm like, boy, stop. I'm like, I'm just out here with my friend. I'm like, I'm just like smoking and just chilling. I ain't trying to be cute. I'm trying to do whatever. I'm just sitting there. I'm sitting here not really saying shit, just smoking. And I'm just like, hey, what up? And just that's it. But like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes some very insecure people feel some kind of way about the fact that like my lived experiences, like I do very much live and go through the world as a woman. And that's how the world perceives me. And it's like, that was kind of the purpose of me kind of telling those two little story instances of sometimes more positive things that I've gone through just real briefly or whatever. But I don't know if I accomplished the point of what I was trying to do this particular episode, but the overall point I was trying to convey is just that people like, I think, yeah, straight men do find, some straight men do find trans women attractive. And I don't think that that's a deterrence on their sexuality. I don't think that that means a man is gay or even bi necessarily. I think some men can like trans women and still be completely straight. I do. And if you don't believe that, then I guess you don't believe that, But that's what I personally believe, honestly. I feel like it's very nuanced. I feel like, I will say this. If it's like a trans woman who's pre-op, I feel like maybe it's not the straightest option. But I don't think it's gay either. I feel like saying it's gay invalidates the trans woman's identity and her lived experience. And it's like, that's not really... I still feel like, even if she was a bit more cocky, I still feel like, but she's still a woman though. I feel like that you know what I mean? Because I'm like, not every woman passes, They still get love sometimes too, so it's like, you know what I mean? So I feel like, I feel like people are just really harsh when it comes to like people who find trans people attractive. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like trans people, especially a lot of trans women I feel like there's a lot of beautiful trans women, and it's like, it makes perfect sense why there might be a man or even a woman who might find a liking to a trans woman. That's another thing I didn't get into. I've also had like quite a few lesbians also hit on me. And like literally, and when I would tell them I'm trans, they'd be like, damn, you could have fooled me. That's usually what they'll say to me. They're like, damn, you could have fooled me. They're like, I swear I thought she was just a female. And I'm like, thank you, I'm very flattered. But I'm just like, I guess I'll say it here since I already said I'm trans. Like, I do like girls too. I just say I'm bi to most people, but technically I guess I'm pan. I'm kind of like, if I like you and you like me, I'm kind of like, it just depends. But I'm also very particular. I'm very, very particular about who I like. But, yeah, I don't care, man, woman. I don't care about your genitals. I don't care about that. I just like pretty people who are really cool, like-minded individuals, honestly. But And I feel like this video is very on topic for it to be, Pride Month. Oh yeah, y'all, happy Pride Month and happy, trans visibility. I don't care if I'm off or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, I wanted to just say that because there is nothing wrong with being trans. There's nothing wrong with being attracted to trans people. And I know, I feel like if there's any men out there who might be listening, if you've managed to make it this far to listen to me ramble for 50 some odd minutes, I appreciate that. And clearly I must have been entertaining enough for you to have one that stuck out this far. So awesome. But I really do hope that there can be more men who will be actually willing to stand in their truth and just be who they are. It's if you are attracted to a trans woman, it's so fucking what, it's you know what I mean? It's it doesn't mean anything about your character or your morals or who you are, but of course people will feel some kind of way about that. And I feel attraction is complicated, but people like to reduce it to black and white bioessentialism for various reasons. But I feel that's pretty much the gist of what I wanted to say. I just want to get on here today and just kind of talk about some of those thoughts I had just lingering in my head. And hopefully, I can get around to having another person, hopefully at some point. And I'll be able to do this more properly where I can be okay, I can ask you a question now. But we working on it one step at a time, Woo woo, episode 3. So I know it's kind of late. Sorry, y'all. I hope this episode was interesting. I know I kind of just talk several different things. I'm sorry. I'm very ADHD. I kind of be everywhere. So I can be a little untogether. I don't have a proper script, y'all. I'm just going off of memory and just saying things that are coming to mind. But I feel I have something interesting to say, and I feel there might be someone out there who might want to hear what I have to say, or at least just, hear a trans person's opinion about, attraction towards said people, and how people often like to deny their attraction towards us or like to act like we are, whatever, despite the fact that many people do find us attractive. And it's I don't know, it's a deeply contradicting experience. It's on one hand, I get told very often that I'm very beautiful by a lot of people, but then on the other hand, I get people who actively do everything that they can to just act like I would never, ever. I swear, the men who be saying I would never, ever in a million earth years, I would with a trans. I won't lie, I'm yo, I almost want to be check your history. Let's check your history. Don't delete your history. I'm just saying, somebody's watching that content. And, if didn't nobody like trans girls, how in the hell are we getting paid to get all these surgeries, man? Or take care of ourselves? Because there be girls who be getting paid, man. And I'd be somebody like it. I know somebody like it, but I guess we just all gonna pretend oh no, nobody likes trans, and people be thinking trans women don't be pulling. I'd be yes, they do. Trust me, even the guys who deny me and act like they're not attracted or whatever, I be seeing men and young guys, they be staring at me all damn day. I see a lot of men that I work with, they be looking up and down at me, and when I look at them, they'll be and try to act like they didn't see me. And I'm just sweetie, I see you looking. It's okay. You can just ask me a question. You can say hi to me. I ain't gonna bite you goddamn. But anyway, that was enough of me just rambling. I feel I would like to maybe talk more about some of my work experiences. I feel they're very interesting, and I feel I like talking about that. So I don't know. I'm thinking about stuff, but I also want to address other issues because this is the why aren't we talking about this? Although I feel like this is a topic that we aren't talking about a whole lot, but we're starting to talk about it more often. I'm starting to see more mummers and people on the internet, you know, and whatnot. I said the internet and all the socials actually talking about this a little bit, at least because of the recent podcast controversy that I saw that made me kind of want to talk about this specific issue or whatever. But with that being said, folks, I am Vega. I hope you all have a wonderful and beautiful day, and I hope to get back to you a lot sooner than what I have been doing and be more consistent. But please understand, I am a mess right now, so I am trying my best, and I'm just an artist, man. I'm just trying to, like, you know, figure things out and just try to do whatever I can. So we're gonna do it. All right, and with that being said, you folks have a wonderful day. Bye.